going to start recording. That was so weird. I suppose I need like a moderator or something to let the people in while I'm talking. And because in the beginning, there's always so many people, but okay, so, oh my goodness. And I'm just going to jump right into the announcements because we have some pretty exciting things to talk about. So hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Sarah Grillo. Is my screen freezing? This is weird. Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
There you go, it came up.
Thanks. All right, let me get into the announcements here. So the first thing is, it's always my desire for this to be an inclusive environment. So one of the ways that I'm doing that is I'm enabling closed captioning. Please click the CC button at the bottom of your screen if you would like the words to be transcribed onto your screen. Now, announcements, the meeting's recorded. Tomorrow is our pod day. So it is helpful for the purposes of increasing your power in the algorithm if you get a certain amount of comments within the first hour after you post something on social media. So what I would encourage is for you to think about being in our pod discussion group that we once a month will comment on all of each other's postings. And it's a useful exercise because you can kind of learn how the science of the algorithm works if you aren't familiar already. LinkedIn definitely does reward more engagement on posts, and that's the main learning that comes away from that. And it's also good for the purpose of solidarity and of us all getting our messages out about transparency and about planning. I think I've seen people posting on topics of such dignity, transparency, clarity, and it's very useful for the public to hear this. So if we could stand together and post once a month on these topics, that's what my point is, and that's why I'm organizing these pod events. Profitability models. I put together a chart of accounts for flat fee and advice only people. And the reason I did this is that one of the common complaints I hear is, well, how do I make this scalable? How do I decrease costs while increasing growth and maintaining my quality of service or improving it? And I think at the end of the day, it does come down to the numbers, that the numbers have to work in that scenario in order for it to be effective. So please, if you visit my website, it's actually up on my website right now in the blog section, or I will post it into the chat in a little bit. I also posted it into our LinkedIn group yesterday, and I posted it into the numerous chat messaging groups that are on LinkedIn as well. The next meetup is on May 10th, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put the sign up. A lot of you are already automatically signed up already, but I'm just going to post this out to everybody in the meeting. So if you'd like to reserve your spot for May 10th, that would be great. Okay, so let's talk about our in-person meetup. This is an exciting thing that I'm so really lit up about, and it's the idea of all of us getting together. The place is Chicago, and I have the hotel actually already picked out. It's going to be a 2-day, I'm not calling it a conference, I'm calling it an immersion, and I'm going to explain why that term is applied in a minute. So in terms of the cost, one of the things that y'all said was that the two things that were really important were convenience, accessibility, and also the cost being reasonable. So I've done that. I've found a hotel that's just a 15-minute free shuttle ride from O'Hare Airport. And I'm about to book the conference space. And it looks like it's probably going to end up on the ticket level about maybe 200 to 300. I'm going to try to keep it as low as I possibly can, but just the basic amenities is what I'm looking for here. And that is going to run at about $200 ticket price. Like I said, maybe a little bit more. I haven't worked out the final details. The rooms are also very reasonable. It's coming to maybe about $170 a night. So what we're looking at is between your hotel and lodging, your ticket and your lodging probably be about $600, and then whatever your flight is would be on top of that. So total cost, I would say, would probably be about $1,000. Now, again, I apologize. I wish I could do it all for free, but I can't. And we're not having any sponsors. for the conference, and I've done that on purpose because I want clarity and the truth, and that's a big part of what the experience is going to be about. So it's Tuesday, March 13th and 14th, 2024. Please save the date. I'm going to be sending out the link to register, and it's going to be capped at about 45 people. Now, I'm structuring this in a very different way because I want this to be a radically different experience, and I want it to be more pure and more effective than anything that's ever happened in this industry before, because I feel that that is in line with our values and our mission as a movement. So I'm calling it an immersion because I want the emphasis to be on peer-to-peer conversations, opportunities for personal and professional growth, strengthening of our unity as a group and as a movement. The activities would be much more along the lines of small group interactions and role-playing, technology demonstration, much more like ask me anything sessions in which planners and advisors impart the wisdom and the insights that they've gained from running their practices. So this is much more focused on the practical. I am not, and how to do things. I'm going to keep the presentations short, 25 to 30 minutes each. And I'm, like I said, these are going to be clean, safe accommodations, but this is not going to be ritzy, glamorous photo op for my social media. All right. I'm going to focus on the content and increasing the power of the experience. I also would like to schedule a group volunteering event where we go into the community and impart to them the knowledge, the financial literacy, and the and make planning accessible to them. So I've been talking with the hotel and also looking into the various venues that are located adjacent to the hotel, possibly even going into Chicago to see if there's a, you know, some kind of a company or a school or a group of people that we could impart financial planning and investment knowledge to make it more accessible to folks that maybe wouldn't have it. And, you know, if they were having to pay for it. So that's my idea with the immersion event. It's March 13th to March 14th of 2024. And like I said, I'll be finalizing the details and sending it out probably over the next month. But I just want to pause and, you know, point back to you, because I don't consider myself the authority on this topic. I would consider all of you as the guides as to what this experience really needs to be, because only then can I make this the best that it could possibly be for our movement and for society, which is my goal. So I'm going to stop talking for a minute and pause for any comments that people may have on that. It's okay if nobody says anything. I'll just move on in a minute, but I am going to pause and give everybody the space. Don't feel shy. I've had it all said to me. So if you want to insult me even publicly, I'm okay with that too. It happens every day on social media.
Sarah, this is Carrie. I think it's a terrific idea, and I look forward to it. The one thing that I just will caution you on, having a little bit of experience with doing a conference for a nonprofit, is make sure you understand what all the taxes are. Illinois is known for being a very high tax state, and I don't want any surprises after you think you've got all the costs under control to find out that it's going to be an extra 20%.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of that insight. And truthfully, it's not something that I fully grasped prior to you mentioning it. What I'm going to be doing in the spirit of transparency is I'm going to be publishing what the components are of every single cost that you would be expected to and required to pay for. So for the ticket, I'm actually on the events page, I'm going to break out what the costs were that were incurred and why the ticket price is what it is. I was thinking, though, that I may have to build in a little bit of a buffer that hopefully I could even be refunded back if it ends up not being invoked. But just because I am anticipating there are costs and fees and taxes and all kinds of things that I just, not being the business, wouldn't know of. And so thank you so much for protecting me and protecting us on that. I appreciate that. Anything else before I move on?
Cody, don't you have anything to say? I guess not.
Okay.
All right, I'll say something. No, I don't really have anything, but I'm here.
Okay, I was thinking to go around and have everybody kind of introduce themselves. But I think what I might want to do is just open up the discussion. The discussion today is about marketing. So what I want to do is open up the discussion to a general conversation about marketing, and marketing for flat fee and advice only. And then at the end, we'll kind of have like a talk around where we, you know, kind of introduce ourselves and talk to each other if time allows for that. But the purpose of why people came here is to talk about marketing. I think it's a big thing because it's related to growth. So before I get into the specific questions that were asked for me to address in this meetup, I just want to know, I just want to pose this to the group and start a discussion here. What do you want to say about marketing? What's worked for you? Let's just open it up. Right, we could do thank you, Jay. We could do the discussions in the chat. If anybody wants to introduce themselves on chat, that's a little bit easier. So let me just open this up here. What has worked for people in marketing? What has not worked in this kind of a context? How do you keep costs low for marketing if you're a flat fee or advice only advisor, while at the same time having it be effective? All of this, I want to just stop. I'm going to stop talking and allow you all to speak as a group.
Hi, Sarah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, Jose Albrecht right here. Well, in my case, I'm not a marketing professional. That's why I'm really interested in this conversation with all you guys. Last week, my company, which is based in Lima, Peru, registered an LLC in Florida. And as it is a new company that is registered in the United States, I am willing to know how the market works and how all the people in Florida, in most cases, are willing to take the services. I'm not a marketing professional, as I highlighted before, and I need help to develop those skills. So I'm really looking forward to get some knowledge from you guys. Thank you.
So Jose, are you telling me that you are dialing into this meetup from Lima, Peru?
Yes, right now I'm based in Lima, Peru right now.
What time is it in Lima, Peru?
It's 12 o'clock, 12:15.
Okay, all right. So I just would say that, I mean, how does marketing work here in the United States? Well, you know, the laws are obviously different, but one of the things that I would say is it's going to be, marketing really is effective when it's targeted and focused on what the message is and having it tailored to who you're trying to reach. Jose, so I would ask you, who in Miami are you trying to reach? Is it even Miami? Is it people all over the United States? Don't try to be everything to everybody. That is going to take a lot longer. It might not be effective at all. The best thing I could say to you is develop either a niche or a specialization. And I know that everybody on this call is probably rolling their eyes at me from hearing that, but the truth of the matter is that, especially in the kind of business that you're in, if you're doing flat fee or advice only, you really got to be careful because it's not going to be for everybody. And you want to match up the need to what it is that you offer and be able to express it.
All right, thank you. Basically, I was focusing on Hispanic community in Florida.
Very broad. That's very broad. What does Hispanic community mean, right? Is it people from, like, is it expats? Is it people from Latin America, people from Spain, people from, right, to Puerto Rico? Where, what like income level, what demographics, what kind of cultural preferences do folks have? You know, is there any particular kind of cultural venue that you can focus on in order to reach folks through that? So that I think you're going to get a lot more specific with that. Okay. I'm really tough with that. Like, people think they're being specific all the time. And I always have to tell them you need to be more specific. All right.
No, that's fine. I'm really open to any kind of constructive opinions. And thank you very much, Sarah, for all those pieces of advice that you give us.
Stephen,
I'm not a flat fee advisor, but I'm doing a lot of marketing because you might recall we spoke a couple of weeks ago about using independent research for life insurance, and I think we've sort of built a little roadmap, and maybe I can just have a brain dump, and it might be helpful to your group because you're going through something similar. Would that be helpful, Sarah?
sure. Just make it brief because I don't, just a few.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I think it's
minutes.
so one of the things that we did was we got on the Speakers Bureau for NAPAC, right? And that's not something that all of you can do, but it's something that one of you can do.
Okay, Stephen, hold on. What's NAPAC?
So NAPAC is the National Association of Estate Planners and Councils. So in every county in the US, there's an estate planning council of all the attorneys, all the accountants, all the RIAs, all the trustees. They get together every month and they're always looking for speakers. So now there's a way for you to be the thought leader in that space and get in front of 30 people at a time.
Okay. Yep.
Right. So
I love that idea. Okay. Can we just pause there on that idea because I love what you're saying. Financial advisors and planners on this call. Has anybody done anything like this? Okay.
Not a speaker, but I'm part of the Central Florida Estate Planning Council. It's been a good networking group.
Okay, Kelly, how did you get to do that? Did you just go to them and say, what did you do to do that, Kelly?
A good friend of mine is an estate planning attorney and she told me about it. And they allow like there's like a category of a certain number of wealth advisors, they call them, that they let in. So I applied and that you have to get somebody on the council to sponsor you, but that was not somebody I knew. She just read my resume and was like, sure, she'll be good. So it was pretty easy to get in. And then it was just like, I don't know, ours is like $500 a year or something like that. And then there's a lunch and a dinner like every 2 weeks or something.
Have you found this? Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all I was gonna say, I'm sorry.
Can I just add for 1 second, Sarah?
Yeah.
So if you're able to put together a presentation, what you do is you choose, everyone wants to speak in New York and Boston and Chicago and Beverly Hills. But what you really want to do is you want to find a county where everybody's poor because no one wants to speak there. And once you speak at 3 poor counties and they give you a letter of recommendation, and you take the 3 letters of recommendation and you go to the National Estate Planning Council and they'll put you on the Speakers Bureau, and now you can speak anywhere in the country. So now you have A, you're on the Speakers Bureau, B, you're getting in front of hundreds of people, and C, you have your PowerPoint. And then you do the same thing in the accounting world. So every state has a state CPA society, and the groups that want to hear from you are the high net worth group and the estate planning group and the private wealth group. And then every state has a CFA society. And again, once you've put together the presentation and you've spoken at one place, the other places want to hear from you also. And that really gives you, you become the thought leader. And I don't think all of you can become thought leaders, but if one of you became the thought leader, you could then be almost marketing for everybody, right? That's sort of the model we're following, and we do it with articles, we do it with videos, we do it with podcasts. So if you want me to shut up, I'm happy to shut up. If you want to hear more, I'm happy to tell you because Sarah's been so helpful to us.
Thank you. Okay. When you do the presentation, when you create your presentation for them, what's the presentation about?
Sure. So I think it's different. So for us, it's a little different than you. But what we do is we talk about the life insurance guidance from FINRA, the OCC, from the Department of Financial Services, from the CFP board, and then we show a case study. And in your business, it would probably be a lay of the land of what does fee only mean, what does fee based mean, what does commit, and then give a case study. And that's when people see you as the authority, and then they come up to you and they say, hey, I have a matter. How would you handle this? And then it's learning how to be a public speaker. It's learning how to have a call to action. And it's all about education. But when you educate the attorneys and accountants, that they have hundreds of clients and some of their clients fit your model. Is that, we could all work on what should be in the presentation, but I think that's what's the regulatory environment, and how does the client and that fiduciary advisor, how do they benefit by bringing you in? Even though you're not being salesy, it leads to business.
Okay, so this is, the chat is going wild here. Holly Donaldson. Holly says, Holly, would you like to speak up?
Sure. Hi.
Hi, thanks for being here. Great to have you.
Yeah, glad to be here. So I agree. I've served on the local boards of the estate planning councils here, and I've also served on the Speakers Bureau for the National Association. And I think there's room for more than one person. My particular presentation was on behavioral economics. That's just a really small niche, but if somebody wanted to pursue explaining flat fee and fee only, I think there would be receptive audiences, as was it Kelly was saying. So, but I don't have a scientific way of saying, oh, because I got involved with estate planning councils, I started getting more referrals and got the word out about fee only, because I sort of organically grew up in my career through estate planning councils. And so I just have a lot of contacts through that. It wasn't something I intentionally did for marketing purposes. So it was more of a speaking gig thing that I did. And so I don't know if that's helpful.
Holly, has this helped your practice?
Oh, certainly, yes. So, being connected with the attorneys and the CPAs and even the trust officers and investment managers that are in the estate planning councils, these are the people that are really investing in their own education. They're the board certified people. They're the high net worth people, and they really appreciate fiduciary, love fiduciary.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that if what was described as far as like get a presentation going, go to some really small councils, get started there, and they're all looking for new blood and new topics. So if you want to dedicate the time, like anything else with marketing, it could work out. Just you'll have to put in a lot of time, do a lot of presentations, and it can work out well.
Okay, so Kelly said it was like $500 a year, I believe. Kelly, correct me if I'm misquoting you.
Yeah, ours was something like that.
Okay.
Maybe 6, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay. Holly,
Not a lot.
okay, Holly, and what would you estimate the cost to have been of this? Less than
Yeah,
1,000?
I think 500 sounds a bit high for my local estate planning council. There are 2 that I've been involved with, and I just pay as I go. So if I go to an event, I pay like $50 or something to go to the dinner. If I join for the year, I think it's like $250 or something.
Okay, so this is very low cost. The way that you pay is with your time and with the mental energy that you'll put in and the skills and knowledge and expertise that you're giving generously, right? That's how you pay. But I can tell you, as far as marketing costs go, this would probably be on the lower end. This would be on the lower end of the spectrum, considering that even in Kelly's case, let's say 500, that's $60 a month. That's very low cost marketing. But you will have, in order to be effective, you are going to have to, in some cases, up your game. But this is marketing right to the people who are in the flow of things. What do y'all think of this so far, what these people have said? Are there questions for any of these people?
Just speak up. I'm part of I'm planning to join my local estate planning council, but I'm also part of there's a tax group, which is actually a mix of accountants and attorneys. And I joined that, several months ago. Similar concept, you go once a monthly lunch meeting, that kind of thing. And I'm just kind of taking the approach of one at a time, introducing myself to folks. Hey, let's go grab coffee. Let me just learn a little bit about you, your practice, tell you a little bit about what I do, how it's different. And you kind of see them start to get it, like, oh, that is different, and they're interested in hearing more. So that's my marketing. It's grassroots one-on-one. It takes time, but it's not a high cost.
Yep. And another way that you can solidify those relationships is by connecting with those people on LinkedIn. And not just to connect with them and, oh, blah, 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 great, now, like, you watch my updates, right? But, okay, this is what everybody misses about LinkedIn. The people that you want to get their attention, pay attention to them. Okay, like when that accountant posts that like boring update about Secure 2.0 or about like don't miss the tax deadline or whatever, pay attention to the accountant because they'll notice, especially if there's nobody else paying attention to them. Even comment insightfully, take their update and share it to your network with a comment or a thought that is insightful and reflects that you paid attention and listened to what they had to say. All right. So Mike, I love your idea of let's get coffee, let's meet face to face, but that is a big ask compared to being every day able to interact with this person online and not having to have them sacrifice, but having information that they're putting out there that's available to you for you to go and get. They don't have to commit anything to you, but yet you're creating a relationship with them. All right. So thank you, Mike, for your point. And I think a lot of times we get caught up with the whole idea of marketing, schmarketing. We think that we just have to broadcast information and people are going to eventually get it. And to some extent, that's true. But it's competitive out there and people like to be paid attention to in the right way, not like turn over your whole book to me right now kind of a way, but they like it too. They like when people pay attention to what's important to them. And you could tell if you look at their website, you subscribe. Here's the other thing you should do. If there's a CPA or an estate attorney or whoever you're trying to get their attention, subscribe to the person's newsletter. It's not going to cost you anything. And of course, you don't give out your business email address, right? Like we all have that fake email that not fake, but like that not real email that we use for all the newsletters. And then just comment like a month later, comment to the person back when they send something out. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for that point. I'll be sending this to my clients. I appreciate the hard work that you're doing. People love that. I get maybe 2 or 3 comments on my newsletter and it makes me happy. But also if I then had to allocate services to somebody, to tell you the truth, I would be more inclined to think of the person who's always reading my newsletter, always liking my stuff. Because in a way, I trust them a little bit more that they have some kind of a loyalty or a solidarity with me, or that they see things the same way with me somehow. That just me saying so, just them saying so, oh, we treat our clients the right way. We honor these principles or whatever. Show me that you honor that. You honor what I have to say, then why don't you send it out to your network? Put your money where your mouth is. And in social media, the currency is attention or sharing your network. If you have a network to share, if not, build it up. Thank you so much, everybody, for your comments. I'm going to read the rest of the comments on the chat. And then, Stephen, I so rudely interrupted you, but I'm going to come back. Okay, so Ross says Scientific Financial targeting chemists and engineers, especially at Dow, just opened April 2023, advice only, offering group events with education. Okay, and ask me anything. Ross, how is that going? Is that, so you're basically targeting a specific company. That's great. I love that. If you are targeting a specific company, what I want you to do is the first, I want everybody here who's targeting a specific company, whether it's Lockheed Martin, Walmart, Amazon, whoever it is, I want you to do this. And if anybody here, if I find out you're targeting a niche company and you didn't do this, you're going to get a mean email from me. Not that mean, but kind of mean. But what I want you to do is I want you to write a blog. I'm going to tell you the title of the blog. Okay, ready? Dow Chemical 401k plans. Your questions answered. And then guess what? I want you to think up 5 questions that your clients who are Dow Chemical employees have asked you, and then I want you to answer them in the blog. But throughout that blog, I want the word Dow Chemical 401k plan to appear in 2 headers and 5 times, once per paragraph. Don't stuff it. let's say 3 to 5 times. Okay. Easy. That will attract attention on Google. If you have questions about this, send me your questions. Ross, try it, please. And if, by the way, if you want to send me the draft to look at it, I could send that to you. I would review it for you, okay? From Steve Wintermeyer, Forbes Advisor has a matching service we got on their list many years ago. It's been a steady source of we get highly qualified prospects, only 2 to 4 a year. Did it cost you anything?
No, it didn't cost us anything. We just got on the list, and that you have to fill in a questionnaire about how you run your business, and it didn't cost us anything. And we've probably been on there for about 7 or 8 years, and like I said, we get 2 to 4 prospects each year. They tend to be very localized too. They tend to be in the local geographic area. I think people often look for an advisor in their area, even though we meet with people remotely.
Correct.
It's been a good source, and it's been free.
So you just called up Forbes Advisor and you asked, can it be on your list?
Looks like Sherry.
Just a slight correction there. It's not actually a matching service. It's an article that was published on Forbes.com. And in the title of the article is hourly financial planning. So people are still Googling this article that was published in 2019.
Yep.
And we're still getting prospects from it. I don't know. I just did a Google search on it and it does not look like it's been updated. But maybe we can ping them and give them a reason to update it.
Can you, okay, that's wonderful. Can you please put that in the chat?
Sure.
Okay, so everybody, this is great. This is why we have these meetups. Woohoo! So hourly financial planning. I have a blog about hourly financial planners, and I list out the hourly financial planners there, but I don't have everybody. So what I would just say to you is, first of all, if you're my lists, people get leads from my lists. People who are on my, thank you for the link. People who are on my flat fee list. I have an hourly list. I have an advice only list. People get leads. Clients find that list through Google. Those are high ranking lists. So if you're not on my lists, send me a message after this meetup. Don't send it into the chat because there's too many messages in the chat. Just send me like a LinkedIn request, like a LinkedIn message or whatever, and be like, Sarah, put me on the list. Now, you should also Google, and I think I've done a lot of the Googling already, but there are several lists that are out there that you could get put on, like this Forbes list. So Google hourly financial planner, hourly financial advisor, or advice only. There's like, what is this? Advice only. Well, Eric, you have advice only network, right? Eric, what is advice only network? Can you speak to the group, please? Advice only network. Jay is putting it in the chat. Jay, thank you. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for the links. This is great.
Yeah, advice only network is just a collection of all the advice only advisors around, because there's not that many of us. And we're trying to create public awareness about what is advice only, give consumers a way to be paired with advice only advisors. And then hopefully, really build a community around it too, like share best practices, share tools we're all using. So have plans for it beyond just like the search tool.
Okay, is it free for people to list on the websites?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Everybody, advice only. Everybody list on Eric's website, please. Jay just put it into the chat. Can you please go to the chat and then just save that, bookmark it? I should mention that in my newsletter too. Okay. But you should be getting on all of these lists. There's another one. What is advice only financial advisor or something? There's some other website that's high ranking, but I think you have to pay for that service though. I'm not sure.
That one you don't have to pay for, but consumers have to pay $200 to view the list. Which is part of the reason why I wanted to create the advice only network, because I don't want to create that barrier for consumers to find us.
feeonlynetwork.com is another choice. Thank you, Jay. Okay. And then in addition, of course, there's all these, like NAPFA has do they have flat fee or advice only on the search filter? I think they did. No? I think they do.
XY Planning Network has advice only, but all the finding advisor tools are more stressful than helpful. So yeah, I would say, coming back to what you said, Sarah, is like, be really intentional about who and how you serve, and just speak to that specific audience. Because like I refer all prospective clients to Eric's it's not really Eric's network, but what Eric's created, the advice only network. And yeah, like I know that and his team is making it even better to just be really specific. So like if somebody like goes on a page to find an advisor, they need to immediately know, who does this person serve? How do they serve? Does that align with what I'm looking for? And of course, how do they charge? Typically, like they want to know exactly how much they're going to pay before they start. And yeah, so advice only network is just one version of that. But somebody could create their own version for their specific service and process niche as well.
I'm going to move. I have other points to address during this meetup, but before I do that, does anybody else have a comment to offer to the group? Something that's worked, not worked? Skip?
Yeah, my first 2 years in business, I was able to sustain a pretty good business model by networking with other fee-only financial planners in the area, mostly the ones that had minimums that were pretty high. And that was because of my association with the Financial Planning Association. I was a past president and knew everybody. So when I went out on my own, I started just networking with them, taking them lunch, keeping a breakfast, telling them what I was doing. And almost every out of the 14 that I met with in that first 2 months were just really enthralled with having somebody who's doing hourly only advice. And we're very comfortable because we had a trust relationship of sending clients who didn't meet their particular minimums or weren't a good fit, very comfortable sending them to me. So I think networking among your colleagues is very important.
Financial advisors are on LinkedIn. So what I would encourage you to do is, in addition to using the directories to find financial advisors in your area, I would do a Google search on like fee only advisor, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, whatever. And I would just look up those people and connect with them on LinkedIn. And then again, introduce yourself, have the conversation, make it clear what you do. Pay attention to the people whose attention you want. It's the same thing. And a lot of times too, now, what I think of financial advisors, like LinkedIn posts, right? A lot of them are just really dry and boring. I mean, I say this like publicly every single day, 25 times on social media. So like they will notice if you're commenting on their posts and liking and participating, they will notice, because there's not a lot of participation on most financial advisors' LinkedIn postings, which I'm working against, and I'm publishing tips, etc., about how to do that. A lot of advice on my blog about that. And it doesn't include everybody, of course. But that's a great point, Skip. Who else has something? What's something that hasn't worked? I have the frustrations and the questions on the slide, so I'm going to get to those in a minute. Actually, one thing I want to say about that I'm frustrated with. On the homepage, everybody here who's flat fee or advice only, on your homepage, I wanted to say that you actually are flat fee or advice only. Okay? Just say it right away on the homepage. Don't hide it. Don't hide it for the fees page or the services page. I keep saying this over and over again. I get so used to people ignoring me, though, that I feel like it's almost become like a part of who I am. Flat fee advisor in Washington, D.C. Okay? Here's how to put it on your homepage. Hi, my name is, hi, my name is Cody Garrett. I am an advice-only planner in Houston, Texas. That would be an example of how to integrate your name with the keyword that Google will pick up. Hi, my name is Kelly. I'm a flat fee advisor in Winter Park? I don't mean to insult you. Okay, Winter Park, Florida. Or what county is it?
Orange County.
Hi, my name is Kelly. I'm a flat fee advisor in Orange County, Florida. Make it easy for Google to identify you. Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm a flat fee advisor serving metropolitan New York, serving New York City, serving whoever, okay?
Hey, Sarah, I have a question for you. If you're working with clients virtually nationally, how important is it for you to put where you are in your bio?
I think it still is important, Cody, because in certain, it may be generational. It may be more common in the quote unquote older generations, but I think sometimes the more old fashioned the mindset is, I want to work with someone that I know, that I can meet, that's within like an hour or two driving distance. Even an hour would be like a lot, you know? So I think it should, I just want it once on the website. Everybody, okay? Can you do that for me? Everybody say yes. Yes, Sarah. It's because like I've got here, I'll give you a guilt trip. I organize these meetups for you. Clean your room. See, I'm a mother. I can pull the mom voice. Okay. Okay, everybody. That's the first thing. Yes.
I'll just add two things that haven't worked for me, and they are the most conventional type. First of all, I sent out a mailer. I had a friend who has a business that sends out mailers based on geography. You could get as granular as down to the building. And I sent that mailer out from modestly priced homes to expensive ones. And I got very little feedback on any of that. And the other place I did was on a local website, in terms of a local news website, and neither one of them was very successful. And my message was very succinct, but obviously those old school methodologies are not very useful, in my opinion. I don't think anybody's looked at that, but then the next question becomes, and I think where we're all having problems, is the term flat fee advisor, as well as the term advice only, are in our little world, but have not permeated through to the rest of the to the general public. I think the biggest issue is trying to get those terms and letting people know that it's available out there. I've had a lot of people come find me, and it's been very difficult for them to find me, but gratefully so, because they said it's not easy to find. The first thing that happens when you pull up flat fee or advice only is you get about half a dozen to a dozen sponsored ads.
From companies who, by the way, are not exclusively flat fee or advice only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I've filed complaints with Google about that. And in some cases, there was one case where Google actually took down the ad because it was just blatantly lying. But if you do notice those things, just tell me, because I know these methods well, and I can complain. If someone is materially misrepresenting their business, then I can, like, here's the screenshot of the ADV, go talk to the company, right? I could go after them. Okay, Andrew, so yes, mailers, they can be tough. I mean, I've heard like mixed results. Was it a mailer for like a seminar or something?
Nope, straight up, here's what I offer.
I think that's hard. I think it's hard. You know what I mean?
Doesn't matter, it's water under the bridge. I'm not doing anymore. I'm just telling you two things that didn't work for me.
Yeah, okay. Now, yeah, I mean, I think although flat fee and advice only do get significant search volumes every month on Google, the more popular search terms are fee only advisor or just financial advisor near me. So, you know, it should be all of that.
Much bigger universe of AUM type advisors as well.
Right. Like every advisor, you should have a blog, like what, you know, how to find a good financial advisor in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Financial advisor in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania should be the key word that you repeat throughout, and then in two of the headers. Somebody just asked about SEO. I'm going to jump to that question in a minute, but yes, if you look mathematically, if you examine the search volumes, and by the way, this is a free website that I'm going to put here. Uber suggests you get 3 free searches a day. So if you want to do keyword research for free, you could just use Uber suggest, and you could try to figure out, well, should it be financial advisor in Wakefield, Massachusetts, or should it be financial advisor in greater Boston area? These are the details that they could figure out. Yeah, people, by the way, Bill, people try to do financial advisor near me, and that gets you like kicked off of Google. So Google has, that's the oldest trick in the book, and Google won't let you do that. But yes, I understand you're just being funny. So yeah, you know, I agree that like within our circle, we know flat fee and advice only, we know what that means. But if you are advertising to the general public, I would advertise it as I am a fee only advisor, even fee only advisor. I'm a financial advisor in blah, blah. I charge a flat fee. I would write under that, right? Like I would elaborate further and make it clear right away what the fee structure is. Okay. Other questions? Someone asked about, has anybody done SEO? I'm just starting. Did someone say, I just started my RIA and keep getting random spam emails, which offers to help me optimize my website. I have instructions in our resource page about how you could do this yourself. Where are you located, Alex?
In Chicago. Yeah, I'll take a look at those. I mean, I've researched a bunch of, random topics, but it's like this black hole of information that I, got to dig deeper, I guess.
Okay, I mean, I could help you with this decision. If you do choose to outsource it, there are components you could potentially outsource, but the best thing that you could do would be to use free keyword search tools and create long form blog content that is informative and that goes past what other financial advisors are willing to discuss.
Yep. No, I appreciate it. I mean, that's the next on my list, is to start putting the blogs on the website. I have a bunch of them written, but I just haven't uploaded them yet. So I think over time that's going to help build the optimization.
Right. There are a lot of SEO people that don't really understand financial advisor marketing. They don't understand, especially the type of business model that we're discussing. So there's all kinds of like ludicrous things and for a lot of money that they will have you pay and then just keep convincing you that it just hasn't materialized yet and you need to keep paying and paying and paying. Financial advisor in Chicago is probably, you're probably going to get, if you type that into Google, you get all like the Edward Jones, and if Merrill would come up, and all of those are going to come up. So that's why you're probably a little bit better off in general. And the SEO people aren't going to tell you this because they don't necessarily know what these topics are, but you're better off commenting on the less popular topics that don't have a high competitiveness rank, like they're not ranking a 90 or 100 like financial advisor in Chicago would be. So for example, like the example that I gave, Dow Chemical 401k plan. And by the way, Matt Pruitt, I didn't even realize you were here. Hi, Matt, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Thank you so much. Matt Pruitt put Avior Advisors link into the chat. Hi, Matt, you're absolutely right about that. Avior Advisors, Matt put it into the chat. Please go look at it. They do a great job with that, with all of the, like, they do 401k plan blogs for a lot of the major tech firms, and they do such a wonderful, wonderful job of being generous with information. They are a great model for anybody that's looking to optimize for 401k or company specific benefits type of content. So thank you for that, Matt, for reminding me.
Yep.
Okay. So I have all these questions here. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? It's 1:50 already. Let me get to these questions. I'm so sorry for not addressing this sooner. So it's great to talk though, right? We haven't really had like talk style meetups in a while. My frustrations of marketing are time and knowledge. I've learned some great things, but I haven't had time to implement them. Time dictates my consistency. Yeah, okay, here's where like marketing can be difficult on an advisor because you're running your practice and then you got to sit there and do all this like stuff that's really time consuming. The best bet is to not do that, is to not have it be like, okay, now I'm going to do marketing stuff. I think the best thing you could do is in your newsletters, be discussing. I mean, I say this all the time. And again, this is something I get so ignored. Everybody stop ignoring me over this. Like, I want you to just get a sheet, a Microsoft Word sheet. And then every time you have a meeting, I want you to write down the 3 most interesting questions a client asked you. And then I want you to, over a week, pick 2 of those questions, answer them on social media, and answer them in your newsletter. For example, One guy, Anthony Watson, he did a great thing. After the SVB crisis, everybody was saying like, oh, the banks and this and that, there was all this hubbub. Anthony Watson, he did this great social media post. He said, from my conversations with my clients, thank you, Anthony. He's not here, but thank you, Anthony. From my conversations with my clients, I gather that not many people understand the difference between FDIC insurance and SIPC, because people are asking me if their cash in their investment accounts are safe. Right? So you see, because this is a common thing, like we see the details, but to the consumer, to the client, these things are not clear. They shouldn't think about these things and they shouldn't have to. That's our job. But it is our job to explain it to them. And it would be very attention getting if we could address the questions, the points of confusion that a lot of retail investors or clients or whatever you want to call them, that people have in their minds, and especially in response to these type of things. It was the perfect, what I call response posting. And this is what I'm encouraging you to do, is to not just think up and dream up content from midair, because that sets you up for such disappointment. And I don't want anybody to be disappointed. What I want you to do is speak directly to the relevance, because when you do that, you put yourself in such a better position to really help people. And that is where trust comes from. That is the genesis of trust in the person's mind. Okay. So, right. Well, the frustrations of marketing are time and knowledge. Take away time from it by not having to brainstorm and dream up things out of thin air that probably are not going to be right anyways. It's going to frustrate you and you're going to want to throw in the towel, cursing Grillo and every other marketing person in the world. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, the biggest mistake I see is overly focusing on the process and the form of it, and focusing less on the impact and the relevance and the usefulness of it, because there's too much content, there's too much marketing. Don't be that person. Focus on being different, doing things differently, looking differently, talking differently, going beyond, saying, educating, providing the value that your counterparts will not do, because they're so busy on this treadmill running in the rat wheel, or whatever it's called, hamster wheel, excuse me. They're so busy running in the hamster wheel. Don't be on the hamster wheel. I will never yell at you. I will never be upset with anybody for doing one social media posting a month. If it was an Anthony Watson posting, high relevance, he got great responses to it. If that was his social media, I'd rather have people doing 2 or 3 posts a month, but if that was his one for the month, I'm okay with it. And it probably would have gotten him way further. So the biggest thing is, like, the marketing industry wants you to quantity and push and consistency. And it's not that I'm against that eventually when you get to the point when you're effective. But the issue is that most of the time financial advisors are encouraged by marketing people who don't know what's going to be effective and what's not, to mass produce content at a pace that makes them uncomfortable, constrains their time, deprives them of their money, and doesn't pay back. All right. So one newsletter a month. I have a marketing ebook. Okay. And I wrote a blog about it that highlights a lot of the major points. I will send you the blog, but I'll also tell you the basics here. The skeleton. I need one client newsletter a month. Why? Because you owe it to them. Because if you're a good financial advisor, you're constantly getting questions from your clients that you should be responding to on a monthly basis. One client newsletter a month. 2, one prospect newsletter a month. You don't have to bombard. If you can't find, the other thing is about these newsletters, if you can't, email newsletter is what I mean. If you can't find something useful to talk about that would really serve people, don't do the newsletter. I'm okay with that too. If you say I can't find anything useful, well, then we need to talk about why don't you have access to that information, right? Like, what are the conversations you're having with your clients? Maybe you don't have a lot of clients, whatever the reason is. Why don't you have access to those questions that enable you to create the powerful content? What do you post on LinkedIn? Do I post something personal that will get more hits? I think you should vary it. I think you have to walk the line between credibility and being boring. There are ways you could be credible, but not be boring. That creates that requires a little bit more skill. But every so often you could post something that's more general. Like yesterday, I posted a broader survey on LinkedIn. It was like, are you good at communicating? A little bit less of a specific question. What I find frustrating is the fact I need one vendor for my newsletter, one vendor for LinkedIn marketing, one vendor for email marketing. HubSpot, supposedly there are these conglomerators. Stephen, I think you asked this question. Have you looked into HubSpot? I think there's a free version of HubSpot, by the way. Is Stephen still here? Ah, no, he's not. Okay. Okay, so now OnceHub. Is anybody using OnceHub? Can you just say, could you just say, yes, I am, if you're using OnceHub, other than the person who asked this question? Okay. OnceHub recently started giving me a dashboard displaying prominently how many visitors, but it doesn't tell me where the visitors are coming from. Yeah, that's a frustration. I'm not looking for an individual IP. I just, are these real people or not? So what is, Holly, do you want to talk with me on this right now, please? Are you still here, Holly? We're almost at the hour. That's why I think maybe some people left. H-I-J. Okay, see, I don't even know the alphabet. Okay, Holly's not here. Okay. Is anybody using constant contact event functionality? No? Okay. I'll answer those questions individually with the person who asked them. We have 27 people here. Are there any more marketing questions, or should we go around and each of us introduce ourselves to each other and have a chat time? It's up to you as a group. Conversations equals content, right? Okay, so it's now 2 o'clock. Everybody could go around and introduce each other, introduce yourselves to the group, and just, we could have a conversation, or if anybody needs to leave, you could do that too. What do you guys want? What do you all want to talk about? Does anyone want to have a conversation about general flat fee or advice only things?
I was wondering, what is everybody doing to change? Somebody mentioned, right, that people don't know what advice only means. People don't know what flat fee, like they don't even know to Google these things because they've never heard these terms. So I want to ask the group, what is everybody doing, besides just putting in their, I mean, I know, Sarah, you say, in your LinkedIn, put your advice only, start putting that out there. But what are people doing to change the public perception of what they should be looking for? And yeah, how are you communicating to the public that these terms even exist and they're important?
It's really hard to do, Cody. I mean, I'm trying to do that as well. Like I've got flat fee on my LinkedIn, but I realize it's not on my website. So thanks, Sarah. I'll be fixing that later today.
Yeah.
But there's clients don't seem to know that much about the industry. So I feel like every time I have a public conversation about it, I have to explain everything, I have to explain it vis-a-vis assets under management. It's not commission, it's not assets under management, and what the difference is. It's like an evolution. So I don't know that there's a short answer to that other than, we need to keep describing it consistently with people. And then I'm hoping like a term will emerge that's better than flat fee. I kind of like advice only. That's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of cool. That I think resonates with a person who's not in our industry, but flat fee doesn't. It's just how you charge, but it's the one distinction, that really helps them understand what makes it different from other advisors. So I'm hoping a new term will emerge, but I've got nothing so far other than just describing it every time I'm talking about it.
Let me suggest that we should not be hoping that another term emerges. We should be aggressively determining what that term should be. So
Yep.
somebody else doesn't come up with a term that doesn't do it well on purpose. I am sympathetic to those in the people on Main Street who don't have a clue what advice only means in this sense, because in the past, and I'm dating myself now, this may be generationally, when we talked about advice versus sales, that was clear. But so now we say advice only, and I know what it means. Actually, I didn't know what it means until I had a back and forth a couple of years ago with Michael Kitsis. I didn't know what it meant, frankly. So, but the bigger point is, let's not wait to have somebody else to brand.
I agree, Newt. I just don't have any good ideas myself.
No, Kelly, I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm saying that this should be a proactive.
Okay, good. So let's think of some ideas.
I love that. I'm with you.
Okay,
Yes.
so Scott Celeste, he calls himself fixed fee. Scott's not here. Fixed fee. What do we, is fixed fee better than flat fee?
Well,
I think it's more clear. Hi.
The fee can change though, even if you're a flat fee. So I guess your fixed means maybe like the same forever, possibly in people's minds. I don't know. Like a fixed rate mortgage.
There's so much out there too of people advertising for a flat fee when it's just for financial planning and not necessarily for investment management as well too, right? So I still come across a lot of people out there, the general public still thinks there's no difference between fee-based and fee only, or they don't even understand that, right? And that's been going on for decades now. So adding even more nuance, I think, makes it even more complicated when you have so many people and there's so much ambiguity in the way that you can advertise or talk about your services when it still may not be flat fee if it's just for financial planning. I don't know. I just see there's so much out there. I can't imagine not having a great grasp on financial planning and trying to find an advisor and trying to navigate and learn all of this, because I think the people who really get it are the ones that are already incredibly financially savvy and have been in tune to the industry and following people like Cody or somebody else that's really kind of out there on a regular basis to really try to understand all this.
I just want to add that I think it's more important that we educate the public, not on what we charge or how we charge. I know that's it is important, right? That is important. But I think more important in transparency, or just as important in transparency, is telling people what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. And I think maybe just telling the public, what do you actually do for the fee you're charging? That's a big miss. It sounds funny to say this, but most people, they have no idea what, even when they search for a financial advisor, they don't even know what the financial advisor is supposed to do. And they just hope that the person they hire happens to solve the problems that they have. So I guess maybe, Sarah, in terms of marketing, should we just be really focused on what are the problems that the clients we serve have and use the same, use terms in terms of the problems and solutions rather than how we charge? I mean, they'll learn how we charge once they reach out, but I guess we're almost doing cart before the horse.
Cody, I hear what you're saying, but the fact is the distinction between flat fee or hourly is precisely how you charge and what you charge for, or some combination of the two. So yes, I think you're absolutely right that there needs to be better explanation, underneath the brand. But I think first, and I don't think this should come at the end of an hour meeting, and as we are in overtime, so to speak, to some degree. In fact, I would be willing, Sarah, to sort of get together offline with a group that wants to delve into this more and offer perhaps suggestions for the next meeting. But because I don't want to give this short shrift, because this is really important in my view.
I agree.
So anyone who's interested in that, I will put my email out there and ask you to email me, and then informally get together over the next couple of weeks and sort of continue this discussion,
This naming exercise.
this naming exercise, to not give it short shrift. Great.
Okay.
All right, I will put my.
I'm just saying,
I
I agree
was
with
gonna say it
both
in
of
the
those
newsletter,
comments.
too.
What?
I'm just saying, I agree with all those comments. I mean, you're right, Cody. It is incredibly important to talk about the why and the what we do, because the average person out there, they just think it's all about investments, for sure. But Knut, to your point, it's really the models that we have, that's the differentiator, so you even get them in the door in the first place. So, but Cody, just hats off to you talking about what we can do to educate the public. I mean, you're the poster child for that. So thank you.
And
Thank you. Let's leverage the group. Let's go.
Cody, can you just talk for a minute? Because we start, the point here of this meetup was marketing. I know we've talked about this before, but you became a lead generation machine in a very short amount of time. The same with Andy Panko, who's going to be actually speaking at Chicago immersion. Okay. How does somebody who's at that point get even a fraction of the success that you've had? Like, how would somebody do that? How did you do it on day one?
So I received 5 prospective clients a week before I did before I even thought I was doing marketing. What I mean by that is that there's a quote that the best way to show someone you care about them is to actually care about them. And that came back to, okay, when I was going through the CFP education program, I was learning all this stuff that I knew other people should know. I was like, wow, like when I learned about some of these things, like I was jumping up and down. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting that this is an financial planning opportunity. And I was like, how? So I only learn so that I can teach others. So what I think is you always have to understand who do you serve and how do you serve before you can do anything in terms of marketing. If you're marketing before even knowing who and how you're serving, you're trying to be everything to everybody, and you're not going to be anybody to nobody kind of thing. So for me, I always say, I put conversations equal content, like you said, Sarah, that anytime I have a conversation with somebody and I say, wow, more people need to hear that thing, right? I put that out there. And again, I guess you have to get past like the imposter syndrome of, being the kind of the humble expert of like, I might not know everything, but I'm going to share. I think you have to be passionate about actually helping people. And then you have to be very intentional about who you're helping, so that when you do create content, there's like a very specific client, prospective client avatar that's on the other side of the screen. I think when people post on social media, they think that they think they're just throwing it out there into the wind, but you have to be very specific about like that person on the other side of the screen. You have to know exactly who they are. And by the way, I put in I did a YouTube video on this, on how to build a financial planning practice using generosity. There's my whole thing is that, the definition of kindness is giving to others without expecting anything in return. We are a helping profession, right? If we ask yourself, if I had all the money in the world, how would I market? You'd probably do it a little bit differently. So what I mean by that is, instead of, a lot of people do like give, ask, or like, like the, jab, left hook kind of marketing. Instead of doing give, ask, just give. And people will ask you, they'll say, wow, this person's knowledgeable. They care about me. There's been people who literally got on a video call with me and said, here's my wallet, just sell me something. Like, people will get to the point where you've helped them so much, they will feel obligated and almost guilty that they're not paying you for all the help that you're providing. So I would say for 3 months straight, just create content without an ask. Like, this is probably backwards from some of the stuff that you might say, Sarah, too, but like, don't make every post end with, and if you want more information, set up a free consultation. Like, just give it all away 100%.
Cody, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I think you should make it clear how to contact you, though.
Well, and I guess going back to who I serve, I was serving DIY, investors on the path to early retirement. So those are the types of people who do research. Like, before they don't just go to the store, buy a dishwasher. They go to like Consumer Reports. They read they watch all the YouTube videos on the different types of dishwashers. So yeah. So again, it comes back to, how are people going to research you? Like, how is your ideal client? What is their preference for learning? Are they visual, auditory, tactile, like text, right? Like, how do they like to learn? How do they research? And by the way, if the ideal client you work with isn't the type of person to type in financial advisor in Houston, Texas, then maybe, just think about, how does the ideal client search for you, and then like find a way to meet them at that place. So the people who work with me, they find me through word of mouth within small private Facebook groups, on Twitter. So I spend my time there because that's where they're asking. And by the way, the 5 prospective clients I got per week 2 years ago, that's before I ever told anybody in those communities that I was an advisor. They found out through doing their own research. And, again, like, just if you give to others without expecting anything in return, you'll get way more back. It's very difficult, especially when you really need that revenue to pay next month's bills. So if you have some financial stability and solvency, like, be willing to take that step, like, be comfortable with a discomfort. The obstacle is the way. Like, start creating content and just giving it away all for free, and just see what happens. And then if nothing happens, then, I maybe do a little bit of that and a little bit of more of the traditional stuff in combination. Because I think people are looking for transparency, by the way, and generosity. And those 2 things don't exist with most marketing. Transparency and generosity combined means giving to others and like telling everybody exactly how it is without holding anything back. So that's my, I could talk about that stuff all day, and I do, but I'll mute for now. And here's that YouTube video one more time, if you want to watch it later.
I think a lot of times people feel like, well, I'm going to sound stupid, or I'm going to look stupid. And that's what the delete button is for. That if you really, I don't know how your compliance works, right? Or you could just ignore it. But I think what people don't really understand about social media, or it just even about, there's the obvious things you cannot do, right? Like, you can't say something materially wrong, or you can't like really offend somebody and on certain bases that we all know what those are, right? Like, you can't like sexually harass somebody with your LinkedIn posting, okay? You can't, those are the no-nos, obviously over the line, we all know that. But what people don't understand is the attention span is so short that you could go out there and say stuff. And I've had this where people are like, I hate you so much, I'm never reading anything else that you write, you're the biggest jerk. And then like 2 weeks later, they're like, interesting. That I see them posting on my stuff. They're like, I never thought of structuring my newsletter this way. Thank you, Sarah. Like, people have such short attention spans, and I'm the enemy to these people a lot of times, and they just completely forget. And I'm not saying to use that amnesia as a tool or anything, but it's like, I think we have a tendency to be a little bit maybe narcissistic when we post. But if you really can look at it from the point of view, just like that Anthony Watson did, of like Cody's saying, like, there's stuff that people desperately need. Like, I don't want to see another financial advisor posting about what's your vision of financial independence. What does financial freedom mean to you? Like, I know that you're just asking me that so that you can tell me that by buying an annuity, I'll become financially free. Like, it's the biggest setup question in the book. You know what I mean? So I think there's so much that we don't get to that we really should, like getting really into the weeds, but no one really wants to, I don't know, to work harder. You have to work hard with the content, work hard to find the questions.
Sarah, I want to add on to that. One thing is, it goes back to the ideal client. The ideal prospective client that I work with, half of them read Kitsis articles. So do they mind a detailed, long form LinkedIn post? No, they actually love that stuff. So I think it goes back to, like is your ideal client the type of person that if you ask what does financial independence look like to you, are they the types of person that are going to respond to that or like, comment? So I think it's just so important that like you realize that you're communicating to human beings. Like you're not, I know we talk about Chat GPT and stuff, but like, ask personalized questions, like ask questions they haven't asked themselves before. Like, I mean, it's in that video too, but just create content that they can't already find on Google, because it hasn't been, all the stuff on Google, all the like dogmatic one size fits all advice isn't for that person, because they're not everybody else. So I just come back, like, just be very clear about who that person is. And then when they see your content, they're like, he's speaking directly to me. Oh my gosh. Like, how does he know who I am before, he's even met me before?
Daniel Bishop, are you like in New Hampshire or something?
No, that's bamboo, but that's not what I want to talk about.
Where are you, by the way? Can I just know where you are? Because I'm dying of curiosity.
I'm actually not in Puerto Rico. I'm actually in Illinois, but this bamboo, maybe it's supposed to be here or maybe not. I don't know.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Like what Cody was saying, you don't have to make up anything. All you have to do is answer the question that they think they have, the problem that they think they have, and start there as if they are your friend, and that's your content. Like the 10 problems that they wake up with every Monday morning or that keep them awake at night that are in your target market niche, whatever. And then figure out like what are the functional jobs of that problem? What are the emotional jobs? But just speak to them as if you cared about this person. And then you're not worried about whether or not you have like a big pimple on your forehead, or if your lighting's right, or none of that shit matters, right? Because you're just like, hey, I'm gonna help my friend. Here's a 5-minute video. This is how I'd explain it to my friend. That's all you have to do. Find the 10 most common problems in your market.
I love this, Daniel. Thank you. And I love your videos too for that reason. Really useful. Okay, I'm going to end the meetup now. Is that okay with everybody? But can I just ask you something first? When we have the Chicago immersion in 2024, I'm going to organize a volunteer event. I think it should be about offering financial planning somehow to people in the area that wouldn't otherwise have access to it. So that's one thing. But what about if we do something in the interim as a group virtually? Like, do you think it would be possible to virtually volunteer this information somehow? Like, what if I set up, wouldn't it be kind of fun if I set up like a webinar series and we could all speak, or not me, but y'all could speak on different topics as a service to the public, but not having it be like this crap marketing, like I'm going to tell you some stuff and then like expect you to hire me. Like, what if it was just like really like truly advocacy webinars that anybody could be on it, regardless of if they're a millionaire or not? Chris.
Yeah, we're talking about doing that here in Katy. There's a group here, it's called Katy Christian Ministries. And 2 other gentlemen and I were talking about doing a thing called Chris's Corner once a month, where anybody that comes into the ministry can sit down and talk to us, and then do group presentations as well. Just, open subjects, nothing to sell, just, providing information to help make life better for them.
Right, like something kind of like what maybe, yeah.
Like a pro bono just type thing, but if we had some
pro bono webinars
advisors did here, then I could share that with them as well, as far as, hey, here's Daniel Bishop and here's his thoughts on X. Here I've got one with Cody Garrett, and he could share something with that group there. So it's not just all me and my content, but I could take pieces from these other advisors here and utilize it.
Right, like a group presentation.
Right.
I don't know. Does this sound like a good idea? Because I'm getting like a lot of blank stares. Just go like this, thumbs up. And again, I won't be insulted, or thumbs down.
Yeah, I'm with Tony. It's a good idea. It's just, it's hard to execute unless, I mean, if we're talking about individuals coming in, or if we're talking about educational content, like the what is it kind of thing, I think would be a little easier to react to, unless you want us to come up with that and we can have that discussion too.
I would, because I am not a financial advisor, I wouldn't be the best person to determine what the topic was.
But the format, like, do you want, and like, who do you want to serve, right? Just like we're talking about target clients, like.
How about the underserved? How about the people who can't even afford to hire a financial advisor?
Anywhere in your city, in Chicago. You know.
It would be anywhere because it's virtual.
Okay.
What if we said, if you're broke, you can be on this webinar. If you're not broke, you can't be on this webinar. It's only for broke people. I think that it would be, I would probably get, there's some like groups.
Like if I were helping somebody one-on-one for free, I'd still want like the agreement in place. So all the disclaimers about my advice would be there and blah, 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 and you know, avoid being sued and all that. But then the advice would be whatever that person needed. So if it was like one at a time, like, you know, could it be like a round robin? Like, you know, you sign up for this and then you schedule a time and, you know, do you want us to assign an advisor or do you want to pick one? You know, do you want to pick Kelly or Cody or Chris or, you know, whomever from a list, or could be like a round robin thing that we schedule. Like, I don't know. I think if it's intended to be one-on-one, like individual advice for a person, then it probably needs to be one-on-one with someone instead of group to group, like many to many, right? That's my feeling. So whatever it, you know, whatever it is we're trying to accomplish, I think we just need to sort of figure out like the who, and then if it's one-on-one or if it's just sort of group education, like an ask me anything topic, you know, where 30 people could come and they could ask an advisor or multiple advisors. And if we're talking about recording content, then now we're in the educational realm, you know, with different educational topics that you would sort of play on demand or maybe, you know, participate live or something. But to me, they're different types of things. So I think we just need to figure out what the, you know, sort of settle on how we're going to serve those people.
Yeah. Thanks for the comment on Vita, by the way, Michael Stamen. Did I say your name wrong? I said it right. Okay, good. All right, let me just think. There's so many little, I almost said eggs hatching, but that is such a weird way to think of myself as a hen. I kind of feel like I am.
I think it fits.
With this group.
Ideas popping, maybe.
How about there's fireworks going off in my brain?
There you go.
That's way better. Okay.
By the way, Sarah, just quickly, the closer people get to you, the more valuable it is. So what I mean by that is like one-on-one is going to be more valuable than a group session. So I think I like the idea of, I don't think everybody at the not the conference, right? The immersion blender would like, not everybody needs to do this, but let's say that there are 10 advisors who are willing to do this. Maybe for 2 hours, like for 2 hours, those 10 advisors have 15-minute openings for one-on-one, or even 30-minute if you want to get more, again, more valuable, more like, so imagine if each, 10 advisors met with 4 people, right? One-on-one, just to provide, not like you're not going to provide that much advice probably, but you're going to provide resources like mindset shifts. Like you might even have some additional material that we can hand out to people about the fundamentals of budgeting, debt management, a list of like, books they can get from the library to learn more. I think one-on-one is the most valuable, and that's probably the easiest to, not easy, but the easiest to like, just really like create format around if you're going to meet with people in Chicago specifically. At the public library type of thing. I don't know.
So we use elements for that type of pro bono financial planning so that we can get enough ratios to actually be able to give them something like advice.
Functional, emotional. I know you noticed you said that too. So yeah.
I mean, if you figured out the compliance, I would be willing to like jump on with like something that ended up being like the Dave Ramsey's radio show, but just not as horrible and compliant. I mean, anything, but the thing is the audience. Like, what are they expecting out of it? Like, that's the thing.
Maybe I should. Yeah,
Or maybe we just do something else in the community that's voluntary and gives back in a different way other than financial. I don't know. That's just another idea. Let's go plant a garden in the middle of Chicago.
In the middle of March. I think you have to be an inside activity, Cody. It's gonna have to be inside, because otherwise you're all gonna be cursing me about well, you won't get frostbite at that point, but everyone's gonna be like, it's so cold. Especially you Southerners are gonna be like, I can't believe you talked me into this. Okay, so I'll think about, yeah, it might be fun. I was thinking for the immersion, the blender.
Oh,
I was thinking,
another idea quickly, is that I've seen some people, they bring, let's say, 5 of us, like, we split, there's 4 groups of 5 advisors. We all go to different high schools to present to their seniors or something. I think that's actually more, like, that might be more fun and more powerful, insightful than, like, I like that volunteer. If you can get some, like, 4 high schools in one county to say, you can come speak to our seniors for an hour about, like, the fundamentals of, because I don't know if those schools in Chicago do fundamental education on finances, but I think that'd be fun to have a panel talk to high school students that way.
oh yeah, yep. Well, okay, one of the advantages is that the possibilities are very broad, because I'm structuring it so that we are 15 minutes away from O'Hare, and then O'Hare is right on the L, right? Like, it's accessible to that. So it's not like we're going to be like having an Uber and everything. So yeah. Okay. Lots to think about this here. Thank you so much, everybody. I wish we could keep talking, but I think I have to end the webinar now.
I gotta run too.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. Okay. Bye. Remember,
Thanks
it's
all.
the blog day tomorrow if anyone's interested. Bye.